We have so many tribes and so many people that came from Africa to Cuba and so many different cultures and people. And you have a little bit of everything. So many shades that why would you even care to put a name to like
put a name on it? Like, you can have like a really white Cuban, like white Cuban, and then a black Cuban, and then you have all
everything in between.
So I'm Maybin.
Hola, mi nombre es Camila.
To Korea I came to study. Like I did my master's here in health administration.
I came here to Korea 3 years ago to make my master degree studies in musicology.
I am actually right now just looking for happiness. Is that too cheesy? Cause you know,
Aren't we all though?
Because
and this just got profound. A career in arts, in music, it's difficult everywhere because of the competition, because of how the world of the arts works. I also got to meet people from different places of the world that I never thought I would, and make good friends from Kenya, Myanmar, India. It's so fun to get to know other people's culture and see how many things we have in common and how many we have that are so special.
For the first 3 years here, I met a lot of people, good people, not so good people, but you know, for the most good people. But having somebody from your own country, it's very helpful. It's more about we are Cubans in Korea and we share one experience. If I talk to Camila, I'm like, this happened to me. She's like, oh my God, this happened to me too. And somehow it makes me feel better because I'm not alone. And that's pretty good. I feel like I can share without being judged or being considered that I'm oversharing.
Actually, we met in Cuba. We studied Korean together in Havana in a cultural center, but she came here first. And we met again when I got here. And I ended up becoming a part of the family of the Café Cubano. And Maybin came afterwards and she became a part of the family. She started working at the company too. I miss home, but I got a little bit of home here with me, and I got someone who understands that, and you talk about it and you laugh about it, and it's settling. It's good for the heart.
The old Havana, you can see everything. Just walking by, not actually going places, but walking would be an hour or so. So you can just see, drop by Capitolio. It's like Casablanca.
No.
Because it has the fortress, the Morro Fortress, which is from the 1800s, 1700s, 1500s, 1600s. Anyway, it's really old. So you can see the whole thing from this side of the bay, because the entrance of the bay is actually really narrow. I think about Havana, and because I'm living in Korea, right? And everybody's so quiet.
Thank you.
I will say. And Havana is really loud. It's you walk by and everything is buzzing. It's the cars, the bus, the people just talking to each other. I would say Cubans are very loud people.
That's the problem. Yeah, we come to Korea and we're the loudest people in the world, and everyone looks at you like,
you were fighting. Yeah, always loud. I'm okay. I'm chill.
Guys. Yeah, no, that's my problem.
I'm not fighting or anything.
My parents came over here and people were asking if my dad and I were in an argument, right?
No.
And I was like, no, we're just talking esto como hablamos.
Exactly.
My hometown is Guantánamo. It's actually the city that is the farthest from the capital, from Havana. Guantánamo is a city. Some people think when I say Guantánamo, they go oh, the USA prison. Is not. It's a city, it's a beautiful city, and the USA naval base is in one part of the bay. In my city, it's really hot. But it also has beautiful parts, the nature views are really beautiful.
Well, this is Cuban coffee, and in Cuba everybody has one of these at least. This is kind of tiny. This is for 2 people.
But the thing in Cuba is the frequency.
That's it too. We will be drinking coffee from morning to late night. So if somebody comes over to visit you, you offer them coffee. If you go somewhere, they will offer you coffee. You wake up in the morning, of course, you have to have your coffee. So
It's the whole day having coffee.
it's a whole day having coffee. And it's one little shot of espresso every like 2 hours. I don't know how don't we don't have like heart diseases or anything like that.
That's why we are always like.
It's just too much coffee. But is it ever too much coffee?
I think music is important, like in every culture is a basic part of it, but I think in Cuba it's like it's in the air. The world I remember since I was a little girl has always been filled with music, and not just one kind of music, but several genres, several rhythms, all coming up together. It's like, it's magical if you come to think of it. Siempre que te pregunto que cuándo, cómo y dónde, tú siempre me respondes, quizás, quizás, quizás. Y así pasan los días y yo desesperando y tú contestando, quizás, quizás, quizás. Estás perdiendo el tiempo pensando, pensando, por lo que más tú quieras, ¿hasta cuándo? ¿Hasta cuándo? Y así pasan los días y yo desesperando y tú contestando, quizás, quizás, quizás. We have so many musical genres that actually came out of the African root of our culture. Rumba, guaguancó, even the son. The song is a little bit of Spanish with African. It's such a beautiful mixture. And there's this phrase that people always say, but it comes from the idea of a poem of Nicolas Guillen. He is the poet, national poet of Cuba.
Yoruba soy, cantando voy, llorando estoy, y cuando no soy Yoruba, soy Congo, Mandinga, Carabalí. Atiendan amigos, mi son que empieza así.
We have so many tribes and so many people that came from Africa to Cuba, and so many different cultures and people. And you have a little bit of everything. So many shades that why would you even care to put a name to like
put a name on it? The thing is, like, you can have like a really white Cuban, like white Cuban, and then a black Cuban, and then you have everything in between.
When you say black in English, or you say the words that people actually find racist, the thing in Spanish that they are racist too, depending on the tone of your voice, but we usually use like negro or blanco or trigueña, mulata or jabao, things like that, but as a term of endearment too. For example, my dad, all his family call him negro.
Yeah.
Negrito!
My mom too.
이렇게 불러요.
I was actually asked once if I was okay being called black. I was like, no, because I have to ask. Because I don't know your background, or like, are you okay being called Cuban or Afro-Cuban? I'm like, I'm Cuban? Black Cuban? I have never referred to myself as in, like, using my race first, and then anything else. Like, I always say I'm Cuban, because that's my culture, that's where I was born. It's the Cuban culture, not like white culture, and then black culture was so weird to me whenever I hear anything about that.